So today's web dev tip is all about validating your HTML. Now you probably don't think it's that important to validate your HTML because most browsers are quite forgiving. If you forget to close a tag or if you've got a little typo here and there, they'll pretty much still render your content. But it is important for accessibility reasons, but also to prevent errors in the future. And it's generally good practice to have the best markup that you have. So I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can validate your HTML. The first is the simplest. It's using the online validator provided by W3. And essentially all you need to do is just put a URL into here. So for example, if we put something like the Space Jam website, which is obviously quite old, and it should have a few errors in there, and we check that, you can see this, we get a list of all of the problems that the actual website has. So most of those are kind of related to the website being very old, and there's like things that should be removed and different ways of doing things now. But it's just good to demonstrate how you can see all of the errors that you might have on your particular markup. The other thing that you can do is install a plugin. So there are plugins for Chrome and Firefox. If you just search in the web stores for an appropriate HTML validator, there's this one here that I found, which I haven't used before, but just to show you what it looks like. If we go to the Space Jam site, and then just have a look in the tab here for HTML validator. It gives you the same information. We've got all of the warnings and the problems that are on the site, and it does try and tidy it up for you, but it's probably better to look at what they are and then go back to the source and try and work out how you can improve your markup. So probably the thing you want to do really is to use it within your text editor, within your IDE. So there is a plugin for, well, there's a couple of plugins for Visual Studio Code. And this one I quite like because it's quite simple to use and it doesn't require any other dependencies. Some of the other extensions available do require you to have things like Java running in the background, for example. But this one, as I say, is pretty simple. You just install it and you're good to go. So if we go to some markup, you can see here we've got some errors here because this text role doesn't actually exist. So you can see it's being highlighted there. And you've just got a little button down here in Visual Studio Code, which will rerun that validation if you need to check things once dated. So definitely worth having these kinds of extensions installed to check your code as you're creating it. And what you should hopefully end up with is some really nice formatted and validated HTML. So that's pretty much it for HTML validation. Stay tuned for more web dev tips.